From Lalate News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is the Midday Report on Lalate.
It's a big noontime here on Lalate with incredible great details about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In this recording, we get to the breaking news across the board about your check and why the Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then we cut to the recon. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you. I'll go over all the incredible details as the confirmation has been set. You're getting $3.5 trillion of checks under the fourth stimulus recon. I'll go over what some of these checks are for. And then we go over the big money across the board as the vote is set for next week. Which vote, which bill, or is it multiple bills? And is there two Plan Bs or one Plan B? All the incredible details in the final 15 of the final 7. And then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up a lifetime. And finally, the big money across the board as another viewer reveals her success. She reveals her success in the last 24 hours, 48 hours, $17,000 for rent she got. The second biggest payout for rent we see on this channel in the last 30 days. It can be you is next. It's a big day. It's a big noontime. Well, let's get to the breaking details starting right here, right now on Noontime Lalate. Hey, good noontime, everybody. How you doing? Hope your weekend is going wonderful. As Nancy once said, crush the weekend. Hope you're crushing the weekend. How's the weather where you are? It's been hot. It's been horrible. It's been cooler. And it's just all over the place. It was horribly muggy this morning here in LA. And suddenly it settled down less muggy and a little bit breezy. Thank goodness for the breeze. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. In this fourth stimulus check update 2021 today, a lot of breaking news. We'll go over the check and why you're likely to get more checks from those Democrats. And then we turn to the recon. Deal done. You're getting $3.5 trillion of checks under this fourth stimulus package. I'll go over some of those checks in this recording. And then the vote is set. A new vote set for next week on a bill. And this could be the finish line in less than 7 days. That bill vote could be signaling another bill vote the same week. OMG. And then we go over not one, but potentially two Plan Bs. I'll go over all the confusing details. I'll make simple in the final 15 or the final 7. And then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raise your benefits up a lifetime. And this is the new benchmark for SSI, SSDI. What you were promised on the campaign trail, and you're going to get it. It's also my veterans. Finally, the big money across the board. That board, like Nisi, who got $23,000 for this channel, John, who got $10,000 to $12,000, and now another success story in the last 48 hours. $17,000 for rent. I'm going to show you how you can get this big money as well. And this is Lalate, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons, live like right now. And coming up next is a new afternoons Lalate at 3 o'clock, but with the new midday afternoons Lalate at 1 o'clock, a throwback, followed by evenings Lalate, a new show tonight at 5 o'clock. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Fastest growing channel of its kind in 1 year. 400,000. Next stop, 1 million. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video. 3,000 likes and consider becoming a member. Stay to the very end of this video when you get a date preview of the new programming schedule coming to LA in August. But first, let's get to that breaking news about the fourth stimulus check and how many checks. Well, pandemic plus 1 year is how the House bill is written. And with the pandemic far from over, the House bill has a different weight of significance. Pandemic plus 1 year House bill. Senate proposal July to December. Let's go over the payouts. House bill, $1,000 after the first month of $2,000. Senate monthly unknown, but word on the street, the Senate would pay you this. Deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000. Or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. It was 3 weeks ago that we wondered, actually 4 weeks ago, we wondered, is the pandemic really over? Maybe it's not. Maybe it is over. And maybe those House members will just give us 12 months of checks. Then 3 weeks ago, LA started to voluntarily do the mask rollback, and that signaled maybe the pandemic's not over. Last week, the mask mandate was put permanently back in LA. and 50 states rolling out of control with Delta cases. Pandemic certainly not over by last week. This week, pandemic absolutely categorically not over. So if that's the case, the House bill would pay more than just 1 year, which would be more than 12 checks, and that would be more than $13,000 for the House. So compare that to this and the Senate. I think you have an opinion. I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House or Senate. Vote House or Senate. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. Who gets this fourth stimulus check? Everyone who got a third stimulus check would get a fourth. The Democrats represent. Single individual, 75,000 or less, you get a fourth stimulus check. The Democrats represent. Married couple, 150,000 or less, Democrats represent. You get a fourth stimulus check. Double it. Family of four, Democrats represent. You get a fourth stimulus check. Just quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, veterans, you get a fourth stimulus check. It's not income, it's not taxable. The fourth stimulus check would be the same amount for everyone, including adult dependents. And the fourth stimulus check is not a waivable check, it's a monthly check. So if you are at the beach this weekend, and if you are broadcasting live on YouTube, don't do what I did last weekend. I was on the beach and someone said, "Is that the check behind you?" I said, "Yeah." "Oh, wow, it is the check." "Hey, check, what's going on? It's me, Lalate. How are you?" Don't recognize me? Well, I'm not wearing purple. Do you I gotta get my purple shirts on for you to recognize me. Can I get a hello back? Road check. That actually happened. Actually happened live on air. And then the viewer said, "But L.A., it's not a root check. It's just not a waivable check." Have you not watched your own videos? Viewers got some jokes there. So the fourth stimulus check would come in the month of July for the month of July, and in the month of August for the month of August. But in the second part of this video, we have a deal done. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you. It's done. They've agreed upon the price tag, and they agreed they're passing it. Now, I joked earlier today. I had some viewers saying, "Well, darn it, I want a check to buy the new car." This is not the car buying channel. And another person saying, "I want a check to buy a new house." Well, yeah, this is the stimulus channel. This is the stimulus video. So it's $3.5 trillion of benefits checks for you, not just checks to, go buy a Birkin bag. So there you go. That's coming up in the second half of this video. In the third part of this video, we'll go over the exciting details of there's a vote. There's a big vote set for next week. And with one vote on one bill, does that mean there's a second vote on a second bill? Oh boy. And then is there a plan A, plan B? We'll be seeing that in the final 15 minutes of this video about the final 7 days, potentially, of the fourth stimulus battleground. The final 15 of the final 7, it's coming up. But first, here's a preview of the second half of this video. It's fifth stimulus, which was promised to you by the president during the campaign trail. He didn't deliver it. Now the Democrats are. It raises your benefits up, and I'll explain to you how high. And what happened on Wall Street on Thursday? Did it impact this at all with the labor numbers or the new interest rate concerns? I'll explain the details. But first, let's get some money. Boy, you have been killing it. As you heard in the opening remarks, I got a DM for someone on Instagram in the last 48 hours. She got $17,000 for rent. That's the single biggest payout we've seen for rent on this channel in the last 30 days. I am so excited for her. Congratulations. Let's go over the details. When I talk about rent, I can get you on this channel. I've been talking about $5,000 of rent I can get you, and viewers are now getting $20,000 like Nisi. This viewer, $17,000. When we talk about utilities, I said, hey, I can get you $300, but I'm getting, now viewers are reporting $3,000 of utilities. It's incredible. If you got a rent from this channel, post in the live chat right now. When we turn to utilities, John revealed he was getting $10,000 to $12,000 in SNAP. This is incredible because I was reporting only $5,000 to $6,000 for SNAP. And then Louis came around and said, I got $18,000 for SNAP. Congratulations, guys. If you got in SNAP, post in the live chat as well. And finally, if you've gotten mortgage assistance or homeowners assistance, post in the live chat as well. What's going on? I'm going to show you how to get all these big sums of money. We're going to go over rent. We're going to go over utilities. We're going to go over mortgage and homeowners utilities. These are all sums of money available for you, a fortune to get. And this is what this channel does. This is a check cashing channel, not a check tracking channel. In spring of last year, I launched this channel because people's EIDL loans and EIDL grants are not coming. There was no check to track. But I got some checks to cash, $25 million of them, as I got their loans applications approved. In fall of 2020, second stimulus checks were not going out because it wasn't law yet. No checks to track on that one either. but I got viewers $250,000 of checks to cash, paid their rent, and paid their utilities during the holidays. Like Tyrone, family of 4 out of Boston, got $15,000 in December because of this channel. Now we're doing the same thing. It's third stimulus, and it's a fortune of money. So get that pen and paper ready. There's a lot of money for you to get. Why would you not get it? Let's go over all the great details. Each place has different eligibility. So if you reach out to one and it says no, reach out to the next. They also have their own pot of money. Here you go. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city house authority, your state hall, your state house authority, your county hall, your county house authority. Keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. Viewers tell me that those keywords really make the big difference in getting approved. You're not going to say words they don't know, though. You just don't say words they don't know, like stimulus or muddled. I mean, who knows that word? I've never heard of that word. Have you heard of muddled? I've not heard of that word. So they don't know that word. Don't say words they don't know. And there you go. Congratulations to Tim and Linda, who got this wonderful pot of money. And the next pot of the money is the Snap. If you got in Snap, post in the live chat right now. Boy, a fortune. John, $10,000 to $12,000. Louis, $18,000. My goodness, you're killing it. Why so much money? Because of 2 wonderful executive orders. What is SNAP, first of all? SNAP is money for food. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture. Eligibility. Easier than a stimulus check. How much does it pay? A lot. A family of 4 out of Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000 a year. Why so much money? Because of 2 wonderful executive orders. One from Biden, one from Trump, that raise your benefits up nationally 15% between now and December. So go get it. And there you go. Lynn Glenn got it for herself, her son, and her mom, Gail, got it as well. And we are only 11 minutes in this video. You're killing it. $15,000, $16,000 for SNAP, $5,000 for rent, and we're getting to the next one right now. It is the refund check back from your state for unemployment benefits due to computer error. The federal government has ordered to return back to you. How much? Well, it depends on the individual, but I had one viewer get $5,000, another viewer get $3,000. Congratulations. Where's the landing? Direct deposit. When? Reach out to your state. Say, hey, state, where is that check due to computer error? And can you track it with a computer that actually works? And finally, the last pot of the money is wonderful. It's the refund check from 2020 IRS tax returns. And Margaret got it, Cod got it, Michael got it. Congratulations to them. But if you haven't gotten it, don't worry. Update from IRS. IRS says the average amount for this wave is $1,265. Wow. Direct deposit started this wave on July 14th, and paper checks started this wave on July 16th. A new wave every week for the rest of summer. Wow, a lot of waves. So if you are at the beach and you see the IRS, no, we're not going to do that. So how much? Let's say you had $9,000 of total unemployment benefits. You pay $5,000 of total taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations, you're getting back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit. When? Otherwise in the mail. When? This month. And finally, can you track it? Yeah, about 70% of the time you can. Go to irs.gov. Type in a transcript search of yourself. It'll reveal stuff you never knew, like the tax return you filed and the taxes you paid. And then it'll reveal stuff you never wanted to know, stuff you wish you never had ever heard from, and you wish you forgot. It'll reveal when Mitch was on Star Search and sung that lullaby for Chuck. Was the song "Slave to You" by Britney? And there you go. Can we top that? We can. As we go into the second part of your 4 stimulus check update of 2021, starting right now. And boy, deal done. $30.5 trillion of checks will be coming to the American people under the 4 stimulus recon. It's a done deal because of the price tag and because the senators have agreed to pass it. All they have to do is actually vote on the bill, and we're done with them on the Senate side. So this is huge because originally the recon had roads and bridges in there. And before July 4th, Chuck and Nancy said the vote would be called by July 4th. When the roads and bridges were in there, they eventually asked their Democrats, would you vote in favor? They said, absolutely not. The roads and bridges have to go out of there and shrink the recon. So they took the roads and bridges out and they shrunk the recon. And the roads and bridges went into the bipartisan, making the recon passable. And that confirmation comes from conservative publications op-ed. They confirm my reporting, which is the higher the price tag was on the recon originally, the harder it was to pass. Well, now it's passable at a smaller price tag of $3.5 trillion. By allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending from the recon put in the bipartisan, like roads and bridges, the overall price tag of the recon got smaller, obviously. In other words, the bipartisan deal made the recon passable. Sorry, Mitch. Sorry to set you up. But I mean, he was set up. But is he upset about it? No, because the Republicans reportedly claim to love the infrastructure. Once they had that recon now shrunk to a smaller price tag, the progressives could add things back in there and brought it to a 3.5 trillion. Deal done. And they got the big, bold, beautiful number they wanted, 3.5 trillion. Representative Ilhan Omar before that said, we need a recon that goes as far as we want it. You got it, Elon. Congratulations, 3.5 trillion. Richie Torres, Democrat in New York, said, we have to have a larger recon. You got it, Richie. Congratulations, 3.5 trillion. And the Progressive Caucus was meeting with the White House daily to ensure that the recon went big and bold enough. There you go. How are they able to do this? By protecting the recon. Because the recon is just checks for you, only checks for you, and all progressive policies. Senator Brian Shaw, Democrat out of Hawaii, said the White House had told him that the progressive priorities in the recon were the White House's own priorities. Wow. This is all really exciting, great news. Now, here's what you need to know about what a recon is, how it calls for a vote, and when it goes to the finish line. Let's go over recon by first understanding some terminology. You hear in this channel me use the word recon or reconciliation and bipartisan, but unfortunately, if you turn into broadcast news or listen to the president, they use other terms as well. So let's go over the other words for the same thing. Recon is also called the budget bill. Yeah, that's a strange term, isn't it? Budget bill. The price tag, $3.5 trillion. People you see quoted in the article are like a Bernie Sanders. Bipartisan is also called roads and bridges, or also called the infrastructure. Price tag 1.5 trillion. People quoted in the article are like a Kristen Sinema, Mitt Romney, Ron Portman. What is a recon? Well, there's a recon procedural and there's a recon substantive. We go over the substantive one. The recon substantive is a bill called for a vote by Democrats, passed by Democrats, and voted on by Democrats. 2 nights ago, one person jumped in Overnight's Crypto, said, I called up Susan Collins to ask about the recon. She said, ... Who cares what she says? She's not writing it. She's a Republican. She's neither writing it nor part of the discussion of writing it, and is all she's doing is voting against it. So why would you call up her? It's like calling up Mitch McConnell, ask him where Nancy gets her hair done. Why would you do that? It makes no sense. So there you go. A recon is written by Democrats for Democrats and passed by Democrats. Who actually writes it? It's written in subcommittees of the House of Representatives, lead authors with the Senate subcommittees watch them as well, Democrats with Democrats. Each subcommittee is dedicated to different concepts or different topics to write in bills under the Constitution. House Ways and Means governs stimulus checks and unemployment benefits. When each subcommittee is done, let's say it's 10 subcommittees with 10 pages, they send them up to Chuck. He puts a big S on it, S for... Schumer? No, for Senate. For Senate. No, he's not that egomaniacal. And he puts a big ass on it, and that is your reconciliation. At that point, you see the bill. But before that, you don't get to see the bill. There's nothing on the Constitution that requires subcommittees to show you what they're writing, what they're voting against, what they're including, what they're not including, what they're taking out, what they voted for, anything along the way. They may show you, but they don't have to show you. And then, when the other thing to know is that when it goes up to Chuck and it's called for a vote, then you see the recon. Now, broadcast media and myself both agree that the Democrats is just elected not to show you the recon until it's done. It's sort of like a pop singer who has an upcoming album, doesn't want you to hear the tracks until the album drops because they would lose the excitement of the event. That means that if you see someone in the comments says, if you see someone in the comments who says the following, I haven't heard in this, that, well, guess what? We haven't heard either. We haven't seen it. And that is why you haven't seen it, because it's not there yet. Not there yet. We have an emoji for that. How do we get to this wonderful spot? Jalapa, who had Rich and Schumer letter saying, call the vote Chuck, signed by 12 of 100 plus Democrats who said, we're going to be putting monthly stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Wow, that's great news. Can we top that? We can. As 7 members of the House Ways and Means Committee wrote the president a letter recently saying, Mr. President, we're going to be putting monthly stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Whoa. You mean the same subcommittee we just covered? Yes, that same subcommittee. They represent their writing monthly stimulus checks of the fourth stimulus package. Boy, we got to keep them to their promise. Absolutely. They wrote your third stimulus check, and they represent they're giving you a fifth next year. More about that later in this video. Can we top that? We can, as Biden has done it. He got an international agreement informally signed 5 weeks ago today, but the formal signature came this week. You had seen 5 weeks ago today the president go overseas for a ceremonial signature, but the actual signature this week made it a law. This is the International Corporate Tax Rate Minimum. Worst tongue twister ever. Why is this great news? Because the tongue twister is not in the fourth stimulus recon. Literally, that's why it's great news. First, it's easier to call the vote on the recon because this confusing darn thing ain't in there. I'm not joking. That's why it's easier. Easier to vote on the fourth stimulus recon because this confusing darn thing ain't in there. Easier to pass the fourth stimulus recon because this confusing darn thing ain't in there. And can we top that? We can. With potentially as little as less than 7 days remaining to potentially get the fourth stimulus recon done, the final 15 minutes of this video will reveal the final 15 of the final 7, what you should expect over the next 7 days. A vote is set, and another bill could be set for a vote as well. Rumors of one Plan B are being battled with rumors of another Plan B. I'll go over the analysis and give you my opinion of the situation as well. We then got to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up a lifetime. But what happened with the 10-year Treasury note and unemployment benefits this week? Did that impact this money as well? I'll explain all the details. But first, let's get some money. If you're having problems getting rent, utilities, internet, or SNAP, reach out to the volunteers. The volunteers are salt of the earth. How do you find them? Open the description of this video. Go down the description till you see an emoji of a house. Click the link, it sends you over to the community page. That's news.lalate.com/community. They'll help you with rent, utilities, mortgage, and homeowners assistance. Finally, if you're in the live chat and you've not posted your success story for rent, utilities, or SNAP, do it. You're helping viewers in 3 different ways when you do. Number 1, you are showing people inspiration to go get the money themselves. So let's say they're in the chat room of 1,000 people and they see 40 people saying, I got this, I got that. Then they realize, maybe I should go get it. Number 2, it inspires people who got one item to go get multiple items, like Art Sullivan, who got 3 items for this channel. If you only got 1, then you realize, wait, I can get 2 more. Also, it updates us about the monies. We see the details of how much more money is being paid than we actually initially thought. And with that, I'll be back with you in 60 seconds with a huge final 15 of the final 7. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join Lalate Daily for the excitement of the new Lalate live daily. The excitement starts on mornings Lalate at 9 a.m. Home Lalate returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons Lalate at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on Lalate. And the excitement continues right now on Noontime LA with exciting great news about the final 15 of the final 4. Excuse me, I said that. The final 15 of the final 7. It's a lot of details. In the final 15 minutes, you are going to see an enormous amount of details about the vote, the bills, the dates, everything you need to know across the board. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raise your benefits up a lifetime. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Next stop, 1 million. I want you to hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video. 3,000 likes. Every like helps. And consider becoming a member. The link is at the top of the chat and pinned comment. First, before I start, personal message. I don't know where these people are coming from. Some person was just in the live chat that said, I don't want to hear about all this help for other people like SSI and SSDI. I just want to know where my check is. Well, guess what? I'll show you the door. That's where you need to go, because I'm not here for you to tell people that they are unimportant in life and telling people who are on SSI and SSDI they should not have anything reported to them. That's just ridiculous. I don't know where these people come that their entire universe is themselves. Number two, someone just jumped in the comments and said something like, are they going to sign this into law on Thursday? You really need to watch the videos. If you have not watched the videos, I explained 9,000 times, you do not have a one bill, one vote government in the United States. This is not a dictatorship where there's a vote and there's a law in 24 minutes. That's not how a democracy works. And finally, another person said something I'm not going to even repeat. Let's cut to the stimulus, which heats up this fall. And this is very important because it's for my SSI and SSDI viewers. This is a promise to you during the campaign trail, and the president did deliver. But guess what? The congressmen are doing it for you. They're putting this in the fifth stimulus package, as the president had promised to you, in true form and format. First, they'll raise your benefits limits up. They'll remove the asset limit, add an inflationary benchmark, remove the marriage penalty, and remove the income exclusion. Let's go over all the details across the board. First, here we go. First, they'll raise your benefits up a lifetime. Who is this? You. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, SSA, or multiple beneficiaries, your benefits will be raised up one big time. Next, they'll apply a benchmark. That benchmark is inflation. Now, the vote on this would likely happen around October, November. Legislation drafting of it starting in September, which means that the benchmark could happen in December for next year's benefits. The new benchmark, inflation. Where is it going? It's being transitory. Transitory is the key word that Jay Powell, your head of the Federal Reserve, testified on Capitol Hill about last week. He said the same thing the month before. What does that word mean? It means temporary, a temporary spike. When? In December. Yes. This is exactly when they apply your benchmark. And this is what you wanted. You wanted inflation to be at its highest point just when they apply your benchmark. How high? Wall Street this week and myself both agreed on a number, 5%. Yes, they're saying my number, which means this is how the analysis would happen if that's what the numbers are. First, they'll raise your benefits up a lifetime. Then they'll step up your benefits based upon the benchmark of inflation. If it's 5%, you'll be stepped up another 5%. Not just next year, lifetime. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. Wow, that is incredible, great news. So if the inflation rate is 2% the year after that, you'll be at +2, +5%. Incredible. Then they'll remove the income cap, dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't stay on, 1960s law that says you can't work and also stay on benefits. The asset cap is going to go away, so you'll be able to have some stimulus checks in hand. It currently prevents you from having more than $3,000 on the bank account. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to go away. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. Viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to get married and no longer suffer the marriage penalty. Viewers have suffered the marriage penalty their entire lifetime, some people. And for someone to jump in the live chat and say, I don't want to hear this, get on to where I'm getting my check in my hand. Not only is that self-centered and rude, but it's also inconsiderate to half of a very large section of our entire American economy. Don't be like that. Not only are you banned, but please in life try to find a comfort level where you find happiness for other people as well. All right, now, this stimulus will include another stimulus check. That will be next year. Those House Ways and Means members represent they're putting a fifth stimulus check in the fifth stimulus check package next year. Finally, if you're on the live chat and you notice people who have gotten these big sums of money and they have a purple hawk emoji next to their name, what are they doing? They're becoming members. The member link's under the video where it says join here. The virtues of membership are clear. When second stimulus was passed, there was a $600 stimulus check. But my viewers didn't get, I represented them, I'll get $6,000. They got $14,000 from me. When a third stimulus check was passed earlier this year, if you were not a subscriber, you may have gotten the $1,400 stimulus check, but my members were told, I'll get you $14,000. They got $20,000 like Nisi, $18,000 like that viewer in the last 24 hours, and $18,000 like Louis for Snap. So consider becoming a member, because daily I deliver to you from the YouTube community page, handwritten, all the items that are in third stimulus for you to get. They're application based. And guess what? Once fourth stimulus becomes law, there'll be $3.5 trillion of checks for you to get. They will be mostly application based. And I will be here day in and day out to ensure you get every check of them. And let's cut to those checks right now in the final 15 of the final 7 starting right now. In these final 15 minutes of this final potential 7 days of the fourth stimulus battleground, we can go over the votes, the bills, the dates, and everything you need to know. Starting with number 1, recon, done. Someone during the commercial break said, how about people who don't have kids? I mean, I've said that 9,000 times. I don't know why sometimes people jump in the live chats. It's as though they have never heard a single recording in this channel. Fourth stimulus is not about kids at the third stimulus package, folks. Come on, catch up. Fourth stimulus, $3.5 trillion. And this is absolutely ecstatic news for 2 reasons. One, it's been passed for the number and also for the functionality. And number 2, because it's huge. First, let's go over the passage. Senator Tim Kaine explains to us what's going on. When they agree upon the price tag of a recon, they're ostensibly done. All they have to do is slot the numbers into the sections. And in this case, they agreed upon the price, and they agreed that they're going to pass it. So all they have to do is just generally vote on it, and we're done. But let's go to the number. And I'm talking about senators, okay? Let's go to the number. Huge. $3.5 trillion. It's a massive number. Bernie Sanders went into the negotiations asking for $7 trillion. He walked out ecstatic and celebratory because he said he got all the money he wanted for all the programs he wants just in less amount of time. Clearly, 3.5 is half the number of 7, so potentially for half the amount of time. Well, what are those numbers? The $3.5 trillion will give checks to virtually every walk of life, not just children. In fact, there's very little for children in this. Lots of checks for seniors, workers, and everyone else. Let's go over some of the items. Here are some of the items, not an exhaustive list. I've gone in previous videos over where the list came from. Free school meals for all checks, tax break checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, immigration reform checks, greener farming checks, money for elections checks, free internet checks. They're going to be giving fortunes to local cities to ensure those local cities have their free own internet companies and can deliver to you free internet services. Clean energy checks, and here comes my money, checks for workers and for seniors checks. First, workers, checks for unions, checks for independent contractors, and then checks for seniors. Medicare expansion, checks for Medicare, checks for eligibility, checks for dental, checks for vision, and checks for hearing. Wonderful. Let's cut over to the bipartisan, the infrastructure. 2 weeks ago, Mitt Romney said he thought this last week the infrastructure would be functionally agreed upon and be ready to call for a vote and finished. I said 2 weeks ago, I don't see it happening this last week. Mainstream media agreed with me, and it didn't happen, which means that it's this coming week, which is what mainstream media had said, and I certainly agree with them. But what happened this last week? Chuck Schumer called a vote on the bipartisan, the roads and bridges, the infrastructure, but not about the bill, about the discussion. He called a vote to end discussion of the bipartisan within a few days. I said it was going to die, the bill, the vote, and it did die. But this is what the great news came of it. The same day, Ron Portman, Republican senator, delivered to Chuck Schumer a letter signed by 11 Republican senators saying they're going to call the vote on the finished bill of the bipartisan this coming week. Wow. Ron Portman represents that the vote on the bipartisan will be done this coming week. This is incredible great news. Now, how do we analyze this? Well, this is huge great news because you know how the recon voting goes. The recon voting has to go before the bipartisan. And if the bipartisan is ready for a vote this coming week, then the recon can go for a vote right before it this coming week. Oh my goodness, it's getting exciting. Now, I've made enough videos, and sometimes I figure, why do I have to always repeat things? But someone during the commercial break, of course, said, when is that vote going to happen? Is the vote going to be on Thursday so the checks go out on Friday? This channel's been around for a year and 10 days. Have you ever, a year and year and 4 months? Have you ever seen a check go out the same day they vote on something? Number one. Number two, this is not a one vote government. I made 1,000 videos about the 12 voting steps. There's voting steps. It's a democracy. 2 branches of government, the House and the Senate. You can't just have one vote and a check goes out. I don't know. I've covered it before, and I'm going to cover it again today. But sometimes I'd rather not have to repeat things. And then people say, well, I didn't understand that, so let me repeat it. You need 12 voting steps. You have to vote on the Senate side and the House side. But I'll go more over that in a second. This is huge, though, because you recall that the recon has to go for a vote before the bipartisan. And if the bipartisan is ready, then the recon is not held up any longer. Wonderful news. Now, let's go over what my opinion of the situation is. I'm balancing Ron Portman with Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney represents the vote will be ready next week. Ron Portman represents the vote will go ready and with a bill next week. But the most recent update is Ron Portman's update. Who would I put more faith in? Mitt Romney. If you've seen this channel over the last year, I've covered both individuals. And every time Mitt Romney gives us a date, a time, a drafting, a deal making, he really gets it down to the minute. Ron Portman is the guy who in 2020, when the pandemic was taking your life, your home, and your car, and you were in June of last year, he said, get back to work. You're lazy. I'm cutting off your unemployment benefits. Yeah, that's Ron Portman. So when gauging who I put more faith in, I would put more faith in Mitt Romney. But let's get to the Plan B situation. So there's 2 news articles out there, very different news articles, that talk about a Democratic Plan B in place for next week. Both of the news articles start with the same premise, but then they go different directions. The first news article is from a very, very conservative publication that trash talks Biden and the Democrats daily. The other publication is a middle-of-the-road mainstream media. Okay, let's go over the two articles, and I'll give you my opinion. Article number 1 and article number 2 both start the same way. The Democrats are attentive to a history of the Republicans running out the clock, where the Republicans say, I'm working on it, I'm getting to it, we're going to a vote, I'm getting to it, we're working on a vote, and then they say, oh, we ran out of time, sorry. And the Democrats are attentive to that history. It spans over 15, 20 years. So the Democrats are attentive to that and are ready to pounce with a backup plan. So what is the backup plan? Let's compare the 2 articles. Conservative publication. Conservative publication says the backup plan is for the Democrats to, drumroll, put the roads and bridges back in the recon. What? What are you talking about? Over the last 3, it was only 3 weeks ago, we said the recon is not passable, the roads and bridges. Why would you put it back in there? Makes no sense. They got a quote from Bernie that looks like it may have been out of context. It doesn't sound like it doesn't sound like that's the way Bernie phrased it. I don't buy that. So as to that article, I'm not buying it. The other article says the following. Same premise, same concern from the same attention by the Democrats, the Republicans. But what is that Plan B? Oh, this one's fascinating. It says that Chuck had a private meeting with all his Senate Democrats this week. And during that meeting, even the most problematic Democratic senators, you know which ones, said that they were basically done with waiting for the Republicans. And that if the Republicans cannot get the bipartisan to a vote this week, then the recon can start its voting without the bipartisan done. This is totally different. Remember, we've done this before, where there were certain Democrats who said, well, the recon has to be done before I call the vote on the bipartisan Excuse me, the bipartisan has to be done before I call the vote on the recon. I can't just do the recon in July and get to the bipartisan December. Now, apparently, some of the even more borderline problematic Democratic senators, according to this article, says they're tired of waiting. They're tired of waiting for those bipartisan people. And they're saying, hey, no, we're just going to go do the recon. You're taking too long. Whoa. So which article do I believe? I believe the second one. I believe the second one. It looks, there is eventually going to be a running out the clock event. And if you're a Democrat, you're not going to let it happen. You're not going to let it happen. Even the most problematic Democrat, you're not going to let the Republican run out the clock. And so I certainly think it's going to happen. And so that's why this next 7 days could be all over the place. It could absolutely be all over the place. And with that as your plan B backup, boy, it is getting very, very exciting. Let's go over the voting process so you understand it as well. And I want you to understand this process as well. I've made this recording before, but since some people are confused, and I understand it's confused. Sorry if I was a little tough earlier. It does get confusing. But let me go over the 12-step voting process. We have a House and we have a Senate. We do not have a one legislator government where the one legislature passed something and a check goes out. We have a House and Senate. Every bill has to pass both the House and Senate. The difference here is that you have to repeat back to the Senate potentially at the end. We have to go Senate subcommittee, Senate floor, House, and then back to the Senate for a 2-day vote-a-rama, I believe it. I think it has to go back to the Senate and then to the president. So that is at least 12 steps. Well, per bill, it's at least 3 steps or 4 steps. Here's what you also need to know, is that you can't do Senate floor, Senate subcommittee, Senate floor, House, Senate vote-a-rama, president in one day. So I saw comments in the commercial break where people say, I hope they call the vote on Thursday and we're done. No. Now, each vote does not require its own day, but it's certainly not one day. I mean, that's just insane. That's not happening. Here is the most important thing you must know. And this one is the most important thing, not what day is the vote, but when does legislation get changed? When that S bill, not Schumer, but Senate, is debuted on the Senate side, that reconciliation, and you look at it, it's not done yet. We have an emoji for it, not law yet. We had a statement from a series of Democratic House members on Friday. Said, I'm not cheap date. What do they mean? They mean that when the bill lands in the House is ready to cut, add, grow, stretch, move, change things. They're ready to change. And you may wonder, why are they changing it if the House subcommittees worked on it? Because subcommittees are different than the House floor. Subcommittee, let's say, has 7 people. If you're not on that subcommittee, then you want to have your say as to what happened. If you were not part of the discussion in that subcommittee because you're not a member, when you get the bill, you want to change things because you want to have your say. And that's what they're saying. This House actually was referencing the Senate on Friday, saying, you're not just going to shove it down my throat, Senate. I'm going to do what I want to do. And these are Democrats talking about fellow Democrats. So get ready. People are ready to make modifications. And Purple Power, time for you to push. Time for you to push, because when you see that bill on the Senate side, we're not done yet. You need to push. It may be perfect. It may be imperfect. And then when it lands to the House, it may be perfect, it may be imperfect. It may switch back to perfect, but then it goes to the vote-a-rama and it can get modified again. You need to push down to the finish line. A lot of exciting details across the board. Finally, a programming note, and this is very exciting. I recently tested out a new replay show in the 1 p.m. afternoons time slot, a preview afternoons LA before the new afternoons LA daily at 3 o'clock. You've been loving it. So this channel in the month of August will expand its programming schedule so that you can see programming almost every hour to every 2 hours newly on this channel. It'll give you a more broad scope of the financial markets and give you the ability to interact with the Purple Power family in a live chat throughout the day. For example, from early mornings LA at 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., there's a big period of time with no new shows coming out. So you'll see a lot more shows slotted into those time slots, and the new return of sirloin, currently at the Moolympics and about to come back. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. See me next on Afternoons LA with the replay at 1 p.m. and then the new Afternoons LA taped minutes ago for 3 o'clock this afternoon. Then Evenings LA, a new show tonight at 5 o'clock, and then Sirloin at 8. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.